Hello, this is Dan Hadaway of CyberViews, an infotex podcast, and today's topic is the changing of the guard. Today's subject is one of nostalgia and yet future vision. We're calling it the changing of the guard because Mike has the wonderful task of writing the due diligence letter for this year's due diligence pack, and I will no longer be the interviewer of these podcasts, starting with this one, but it is really meant to simply introduce a best of video that our producer Brian has pulled together, where he's kind of gone out and pulled some of the funniest parts of our webinars and movies over the last 10 years or so. I suspect it'll be one of the funniest CyberView broadcasts in the CyberView history. And so I have with me the person the guard will be changing to, Michael Hartke, who was made president of Infotex in 2025, July of 2025, actually. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Just kidding. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Dan. And this is really nostalgic. This right here itself is really nostalgic for me, actually. I remember when we first started doing webinars together, and we just, sit in a room and figure out exactly how we were going to do it and how we would make it funny, because so much of the content that we were viewing at the time was far from.
Well, and I mean, it was also, I mean, at first it was live webinars, right? And, we didn't say action until we started making movies. If you remember, Mike would always say, this is your 2 minute warning. Until people were like, why are you giving us a 2 minute warning? So, but because we want to get you directly into the funny part of the CyberViews broadcast today, we're only going to have two questions. And we haven't even shared this with each other in advance of the meeting so that, we could be more spontaneous. But I'm going to be the interviewer first, and then you will see me literally hand over that role to Mike as he asks his question of me. And then Mike will actually finish off the CyberViews broadcast the way we always sign off our CyberViews broadcast. So, Mike, my question for you is, the due diligence letter is probably the most important letter that I wrote every year once we started writing them, because I felt like it was where I really declared to our clients what our expectations are in terms of growth and audits and that sort of thing over the next year. And so, have you put any thought into what you want the due diligence packet letter to say this year?
Yeah, I think in classic infotext fashion, we're doing a design probe to make sure that we get the most out of it, and the most impact. But I mean, I think obviously, Dan, what you started there, we don't want to stop. We want to continue that transparency, continue that assurance, that we give in that letter, and kind of a State of the Union address style. Here's where Infotex is, and so I think a lot of the fundamentals will remain. Um, uh, I'm not sure how to really change at this point, but maybe we'll make it a little funny. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little too serious of a letter to do that with, but I think the core fundamentals are there. So I think it'll be really just tweaks from that.
You're definitely going to want to make it your own, though, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what Mike's been doing since I first started teaching him, how I ran Infotex, and then, he would come through and do everything better than I used to do it, all by design. I'm not complaining about that. I'm very proud of that. So I guess it's literally time to hand the role of interviewee over to you, Mr. Harkey.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish I could give you my
I
hat.
know, I know, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
uh no, yeah, I know. That's a tradition I'm gonna have to figure out as well there. Um, but yeah, I feel a little taller now. So thank you, Dan. Well, now it's my turn. So Dan, as we'll kind of see here, with this best of clip show that we have, music is a very integral part of infotext culture. And I just wanted to know, why is that? Why is music such an integral part to the infotext culture?
I'm moving the camera over here a little bit because I just noticed my bases. I had to move them out of the way. I actually, we built three barns here, and one of them's called the study barn, and this one's called the family barn. It's where the Infotex team comes together. And I'm actually in the process of converting the study barn, at least my part of it, into a little sound studio. It's kind of neat what I'm doing. I've ordered the curtain I'm going to pull shut. It's an acoustic curtain and that sort of thing. And so, to answer your question, though, we started what we called our customer appreciation event, and I think 2003. And I was at the time very blessed to have two people, Julie and Matt, as and me. We were Infotex, all right. The three of us were, and so we called it the Infotex Jam, and it was really the Infotex Julie and Matt. And then I invited a friend of mine, Michael Kelsey, who, when I said you're going to make it your own, I was thinking about what he said in that first customer appreciation event, which was, I'm going to take any song you guys want me to play and I'm going to Kelseyfy it. And he made it his own. And then he handed me a harmonica, and that was when I learned that he could make anybody sound good. And then if you were driving around Indiana the whole following year, you might have driven past me learning how to play the harmonica as I was driving to a bank back in the days when Matt and I would take separate cars to a bank because a lot of times we'd go off to different banks before we got to the destination bank. And so I'm dressed like in a 20s hat talking about going to banks. But anyway, so that kind of started. I've always really been into music. I've always loved making up my own songs, and that kind of started the whole notion that, hey, I can integrate my love into the design of this company. And I love music. Why not start using music to show our customers how much we appreciate them? I mean, to stand up in front of a group of people and back in the early days play the harmonica was just, I felt like it had just exuded. We're willing to do whatever it takes to exceed your expectations. And so, back in those days, we could do the jam, once a year. And Michael Kelsey charged a lot less then, and we had a lot fewer number of clients. But by that following year, I surprised the heck out of Michael because he handed me the harmonica again, and I actually knew how to play that thing. And so we've been integrating music into our culture really ever since then. So good question, by the way.
Well, I really appreciate the integration of music into the culture for sure. I mean, it's really unique, and I mean, I don't want to embarrass you, but I know that some of your work is out there as the opening music and the theme songs for different programs in our community here. So, and I mean, I've been touched to have a song made, partially about me,
Midnight caching. Yeah.
midnight caching,
Time to
and
bring
it's
in
still on
Hartke
my
and Schmidt.
and it's still on my playlist. It's absolutely still on my playlist. I absolutely love that song. And
Well,
it's
then I always like when we go down which of our movies got the most views last month. And I mean the risk assessment song is usually in the top three there. So,
yep.
it just keeps getting more and more views. I feel like, I think it's a good way for people to introduce a workshop. And I guess now I'm kind of like toot my own horn. Uh, So maybe it's time for us to get to the most important part of the show, which is the best of Michael and Dan.
SSAE16 checklist is a neat little Excel spreadsheet that will allow you to review SOC 1 and SOC 2 reports in a manner that is consistent, not only from one vendor to the next, but also consistent to what a good vendor management policy and procedure should require. The checklist is meant to review both SOC 1 and SOC 2 reports. If you do not understand the difference between a SOC 1 or a SOC 2, go to this article on our blog to review.
And again, I maintain it's probably not the most productive plan if it's not written. Because technology planning is a process, and the bottom line is because it's a process, we don't cross it off the list and say we're done with it. We don't file it away. There's no wishing. You never have to deal with it again.
Dan, we're running out of time here. Enough on the process stuff. Can we go ahead and move on?
Well, all right, but I was going to give $1 million away to the person who could name.
Go ahead then.
No, that's all right. I tell you what, I'll continue with along those lines, but no $1 million.
Sorry, guys.
Okay? But just to make this go quicker. But what do you think, if attendees, as you're listening to me talk, which one of these processes do you think?
My name is Michael Hartke. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm the programming coordinator for infotex and the moderator for today's webinar. This is What Do We Tell Those Poor Vendor Owners? Yes, for those of you who are worried that you're at the wrong webinar, this is the webinar as advertised as the 4 primary risk management goals of a contract. Drum roll, please. Please allow me to introduce. He is a managing partner here at Infotex, the Awareness Guru of Indiana, the man with 13 letters after his name, but he doesn't brag about that. He lets me do the bragging for him.
The breaker of tech and enforcer of policy. He has 13 letters after his name, and they all spell risk management.
The cyber changeling from Chicago, the guy who drives all the way home without stopping at one stoplight.
The guy whose name has never changed.
And probably the only one among us here today who actually has a degree in architecture. You guessed it, Dan Hadaway. Dan?
Thank you, Mike. And welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today in our webinar.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael Hartke. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. This is R7 2000. Wait, we have some breaking news. Really? Already? This is our first webinar this year. Okay. Well, Dan would like everyone to know that he changed the name of this webinar from 2018's Top 7 Risks to Small Institutions Who Are in Compliance with GLBA to R7, A Superhero's Guide to 2018. Do you have a new slide or something? Oh, okay. Well, let's try this again. My name is Michael Hartke. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. This is R7, A Superhero's Guide to 2018, also known as 2018's Top 7 Technology Risks.
And now, it is our pleasure to introduce to you our webinar moderator, the code curator and special envoy from the SEAM, Michael Hartke.
Wow, thank you. That's the way I want to be introduced in every meeting I attend.
My shout out today goes to Joe and Jane. You can see them here. I guess they found out that we have reserved the venue for 2020 Infotex Jam, and they wanted to camp out for it. So somebody really needs to let them know that the jam isn't until July of 2020. I really don't think they need to be camping out this far in advance.
Dan, you do realize that Joe and Jane are cartoon characters,
what?
Right?
Are you sure? I mean, just so you know, Mike, these are my guitars. Actually, that's my friend Al's guitar. But that's my, this right here is my acoustic bass. This is my 12-string. That's my Taylor. I'm really proud of that guitar. And I have a couple of, these are my
Yes, those are your guitars. I took them and I put them in a cartoon.
Oh.
It's a cartoon with a picture of your guitars
All
in
right.
it.
Well, okay. Well, good to know. All right. Well, how about now then? Am I a cartoon character now then?
No, Dan, you're a live video.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, everybody. But like Mike said before, this webinar is hopefully going to be a really short webinar about incident response diagrams. And so... Oh, hi, Dan Hadaway here, playing harmonica in beautiful Grand Canyon. Not really, which is kind of brings us to our You Spoke, We Listened initiative here in 2020. So what do you think, Neil? How did I do? Can I be in your next concert? Oh, wait. This isn't a Neil Young audition? Oh, well, what is this then? Oh, hi, Sophia. Oh, it's the You Spoke, We Listened. Oh, hey, everybody out there in infotex land. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you again about how when you speak, we listen. I would just...
Dan, I'd like to.
I don't know. I was thinking.
Dan, I would like.
Hey, Dan.
Well, what I was
Hold on a
thinking.
second.
Do we?
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, I
I'd
would.
like to...
Can we please?
Oh.
No, you go.
Do we get?
is a quick movie that explains how the current infotex theme works via data flow diagrams. Let's start with the event log management system. We start by getting event logs from the devices on the client's network that we forward to the Elm sensor, which is also on the client's network. From there, it goes into three main buckets. The first one being the archive system, where our system takes all of the logs for that day and creates a...
Finally, this last one, I'm starting to feel like I'm being picked on here, but there's a two-part to it. In our last You Spoke, We Listened, somebody had asked, can Dan learn to play something besides the harmonica? I guess we're getting tired of Dan playing the harmonica, right? And my You Spoke, We Listened. And so the last time I played the flute in July, I thought that was, pretty good. I learned how to play a little Aboriginal flute. And so the next You Spoke, We Listened, can Dan learn how to play that flute better? And so I hope that this is better.
Hi, I'm Adam Reynolds, and I'm the lead non-technical auditor here at Infotex. Thank you for joining us today for this movie, Incident Response Tests and What to Expect in 2021. Before we get into the details, I want to start at a high level and establish that what you really should be expecting. The overall goal from an incident response tabletop test is value. It should be putting everybody on the same page about the incident response process. And we want to plug into your organization as a partner when it comes to risk response. And if your management team isn't walking out of the incident response test feeling like it was worth their time, then you should talk to us about it, because we may not have achieved the value that you should be expecting.
Joe became a character years ago when my youngest daughter Jackie drew him for my husband. Joe was meant at that time to represent the bank's ISO. In 2011, Dan and I bought Infotex. In order to secure our SBA loan, I became 51% owner, and that is when we introduced Jane ISO. Jane can typically be seen fighting the good fight of IT risk management alongside Joe and the courageous banking team. Jane and Joe symbolize the cybersecurity superheroes that every bank relies upon. And like all good bank information security officers, Jane really doesn't like hacker guy. I enjoy attending the Women in Banking Conference because as women, we help empower one another.
Hey, how you doing, Sophia? What are you doing here? Isn't this a guitar practice? Oh, You Spoke, We Listened. Oh, okay, I knew there's a reason I was supposed to be here. Well, hey, everybody. Post-pandemic Dan here. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be again. But I'm here to talk to you about our You Spoke, We Listened session that we do every now and then, when we are ready to tell you what we were able to implement based on suggestions that you've given to us over the past year or so.
Hey y'all, Dan Hadaway here, dressed up as a miner. Not a cowboy, a miner.
And my name is Cowhand Dan. That's right, Cowhand Dan.
Now if you think about it, in 1849, prospectors were a lot like cryptocurrency is today, weren't they? And if you are a prospector, you better listen up, you hear? Because we got this thing we do every year called M7, and it's based on the movie, The Magnificent Seven, where I go over the mega trends in cybersecurity for the next year. And I promise you, my wobbling jaw won't chatter like this through the whole thing. I promise. Will you love it? You bet.
Hey, Dan Hadaway here, introducing our next webinar. On my way into work this morning, it was 6 degrees below zero. And it occurred to me, because I knew I had to introduce the webinar, that maybe we should get out in front of our office building. So this is we have a garage in our office. And whew, the reason why is because if we don't pay attention to what we need to do from this webinar, we could be left out in the cold. And I get the honor of introducing somebody in this presentation today. I've been doing the R7 article and then the movie for years and years now. And 2022 is the year I get to hand it over to Adam Reynolds, our lead non-technical auditor, who has a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge about the risks that community-based banks face. And so this is our annual movie.
Well, hello, Dan Hadaway here with our inaugural podcast. And so we're actually recording that as a movie just because we've never done a podcast before. And so we figure we might as well record it as a movie too. And it's befitting that our first podcast is going to be about assessing networks. The first engagement, the inaugural engagement, so to speak, that Infotex has in our history is way back in August of the year 2000. We did a vulnerability assessment of the accounting firm that we are born out of, and the rest is history, as they say. But it's also befitting that I'm going to be interviewing Sean Waugh, who has a number of letters after his name and who has been blazing the audit trail at Infotex since about 2005. And so, Sean, you hail from Cincinnati, right?
That's correct. And a Purdue graduate.
And he graduated from Purdue. What do you got? 5 letters after your name? CISSP or?
Yeah.
Microsoft stuff too. And
yeah.
I notice people don't really list their Microsoft letters anymore. So, not to just Microsoft in our inaugural podcast. I wouldn't want to.
It's not as relevant to this particular topic. So,
definitely. And so,
Arg! My goodness, Arg! Hey, black hair here. I don't know what happened to Dan, but I'll just go ahead and introduce our next speaker. I'm going to be walking that Dan off the gangplank, I tell you. But our next speaker today is, it's Dan. So, boy,
map shows, shows where you're on the map.
Well, thank you again, Dan, for sharing your experiences. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm Michael Hartke.
And I'm Dan Hadaway.
And this has been a CyberViews presentation produced by Infotex.